Some have suggested that proper plazas and squares are not really a BC thing. The province, I've heard people say, is too new. But this surely is a mistaken view. In fact, if you cast your eyes scant kilometers to the west, to the north, and to the east, you'll see some excellent examples of public squares, whether it's the Bavarian-style Platz in Kimberley, the Centennial Square in Victoria, or even the central gathering places in their Intra-West village in Whistler. Now, say what you want about Intra-West, or the place, its sort of Disneyfied reality. The planners and designers of the village have recognized the powerful economic and social value that is attached to squares and plazas. They build social capital, they contribute to economic capital. They're good all around. So there are actually some very good local examples to show us the way. If anything, I would say the newness of the city and the province affords us an opportunity to do good public gathering places and do them right, because we can learn from about 1,000 years of design experience. But is this possible now? Other people will hold up their hand and say, wait, isn't Vancouver too built up? It's very moody now. Isn't Vancouver too built up to create a public square in the 21st century? Isn't it impossible to build in an area that is highly developed, really built out, as planners will say, what with real estate costs and everything else? And certainly that's a very strong thing to consider. But you know what? The answer there is no as well. Not if there's will and interest. In fact, in that great big city to the east that we often love to say disparaging things about, we have a very good example. In one of the very busiest intersections of Toronto, which is at Dundas and Yonge Street, a new public square was opened just 5 years ago in probably one of the densest areas and most commercially vibrant areas of the city. Certainly one where real estate costs are at a premium. So what then to do with the question of where's the square? We at the VPSN decided to flip the query around. I mean, we've been hearing it so much, we kind of thought, let's do something with the question. Let's turn it on its head. And so we decided to ask people, and you, and everyone that hopefully you are going to be talking to about this evening's talk. We decided to ask where the square should be, and what in fact it might look like. And in so doing, we decided, or realized, that the best way to do this would be to have a design ideas competition. Now, to be clear, I don't want to throw anyone off at the beginning, but this is full disclosure here. We actually don't have the money to build the square. I'm just going to tell you that up front. But we do have the means to foster discussion on the subject, as you do. And in so doing, we have the means to advance the issue collectively. This is our intent. And as a means of stimulating discussion around the question of what a square might do for the city and what its characteristics might be, we've also invited some distinguished guests to give us their opinions on the subject. The formal parameters, criteria, and prizes for the competition, and we do have some prizes, will be released later this fall and are being integrated with a number of other events, including tonight's launch. But our intent for the Where is the Square competition is that each of these events will have the potential to inform people's ideas, your ideas, on the subject. So material from each of the presentations will thus act as a starting point, or points, contributing factors, elements of consideration that will help to gird the various ideas that are submitted. And I certainly hope that many, if not all of you, will submit your ideas as part of the competition. I'm just going to ask Jason to show the timeline for things here. This gives you some sense of where we're going with the Where is the Square competition. We're starting obviously with tonight's inaugural event. And then in October, we're going to take the discussion and dialogue outside, well, hopefully the weather permits still, and do a couple of walking tours around town and some outdoor discussions on the state of public squares in Vancouver. On the 10th of November, we'll be doing another event at the library, which we're calling Citizen Square. And this is going to be a brainstorming discussion, I guess, a collaborative, if you like, wherein we'll be looking at the various criteria that people in the community, residents, citizens at large, would like to see in a public square. So in fact, not only will some of you be contributing to the actual ideas for public square, but you'll also be contributing to the criteria that define the competition. This is a limited seating event, so if anyone wants to come to this or has a real hankering for it, it will be a registration only one. I'm just going to flag that up front. And then over November and early December, we'll be having 2 other discussions at the library with more speakers as well. And each of these speakers is going to be taking on a different dimension of the public square question. What sort of social dynamics will happen in a square? How will it contribute to the quality of life? How do you build a square that is accessible for seniors and youth and manages to cross age boundaries and economic boundaries? These are some of the questions that we're going to be looking at. The competition itself will launch formally on November 15th. So mark that date in your calendar. We'll be releasing the design brief, the questions and considerations that you need to keep in mind as you do your own submissions. And you'll have approximately 4 months, right through to March 15th, for the competition. I'll be telling you lots about that down the road, so don't worry, and these dates will be circulated as well. We will be having a shortlisting and a public event in April of 2009, and the idea there will be that we'll get some celebrity judges that will help us to pare down the submissions, and we'll have a public event. There'll be a People's Choice Award, and in May, we'll announce a winner. We've got something even more exciting in the summer, and that is the public square activation, which is where we take the winning entry and craftily, I'm not going to say how because we have to figure out what the winning entry is first, but craftily figure out a way to animate the space that's picked. Who knows what we'll do? Maybe we'll have to fill out a form with the city folks and shut down an intersection or something, or hold a celebration, or create a market, or perhaps stage a protest for lack of public square placards. The competition will be open to citizens at large, whether they're professionals in the design field, students, armchair urbanists, or citizens at large. And I hope that many of you will be able to participate in this. In fact, we really want to hear from anyone who's ever been unsatisfied with not having a public square in the city, and who's ever decided to take the where's the square question to the next level and actually plot something out. So if you want to stay involved, either as an observer or as a participant, please sign up on our VPSN contact list if you're not already on there. Adam over on the side will help you with that. And all of this information will be on our project website, whereisthesquare.ca.